Hey there, I'm back. I'm making a real quick video tonight to help you in case you want some additional explanation for writing your reader response number 1 for the free reading book. You have a paper that looks like this. You see, it says independent reading response number 1. And on the first page, there's a spot for you to write evidence and commentary or explanation. And then on the back, there are lines for you to actually write your essay. On the second page is the same exact sheet, except this one is filled in by me for the book that I am reading. I'm reading, I'm reading this book right here called Jasper Jones by Craig Silvey. It's a really interesting book. I've only read the first couple of pages, or first couple of chapters, but I've read enough to be able to answer the question. The question is basically, is the main character, the protagonist in the book, a character that you can respect? Is it a person who you think deserves your respect based on his actions and words and thoughts so far? And from what I've read in my book, my main character, whose name is Charlie, is a character that I can respect. So I went ahead and filled this in. The book I am reading is Jasper Jones. Craig Silvey is the author. I put him next. The protagonist, that's the main character of the book, is Charlie. So far, Charlie is a character I can respect. And then you're listing evidence for your opinion below. Your evidence is something directly from the book. It's proof in the book that what you say is true. So I'm making the claim that Charlie is a respectable character. And now I have to find proof to support that claim in the text that I'm reading. And I chose 3 examples from what I read. The first is an example about how Charlie goes to help somebody, to help a friend in the middle of the night, a friend that he really doesn't even know very well, and he takes a big risk to help him. And I thought that showed that he cared about other people other than himself, and he was willing to take risks for others, even people he didn't know very well. The second piece of evidence is where he is a direct quote, and we talked about the difference between indirect and direct dialogue, right? So this is kind of the same thing. It's a direct quote from the text, and it says, it describes him, how he sat down heartily and he cried as he watched his friend. So his friend is going through a very difficult time, and when he sees his friend going through a difficult time, he cries too, which shows to me that he's a compassionate person, cares about his friend, cares about how he's feeling, and is concerned about him. The third piece of evidence I said was that my main character, Charlie, says, he's the narrator, and so he says in the narration that he feels really guilty and that he feels really sorry for his friend Jasper because his friend has had a really bad life, and that Charlie has had things so good in comparison to him, and he really feels like its life has been unfair to his friend. And that, I thought, was an example of his sympathy for his friend, or empathy, maybe you could say. He can put himself in someone else's shoes, and he can feel their pain. So that shows that he's a compassionate person. So the actual thing from the text is here. The explanation for why I chose it is over here. Then I went ahead and I started my essay on the back. And if you read my essay, you can see it basically starts with a statement that introduces the book. Jasper Jones, that's the title of the book, by Craig Silvey, is the story of a small-town outcast and a kid named Charlie. Charlie, the protagonist of the book and also the narrator, is a character we respect from the beginning of the book. That's my claim. That's the thesis statement. It's the claim I'm making in my essay. That's the thing I'm trying to prove, that he is a respectable character. Then I go on to say, when Jasper comes to his window in the middle of the night, Charlie goes to help him, even though he hardly knows Jasper, who has a bad reputation. And I go on to explain each of these pieces of evidence that I said earlier, one by one. So I present this one first, then explain it, present the next one, then explain it, present the third one, then explain it, and then summarize my thoughts at the end. So this is kind of the basic construction of how I've used 3 pieces of evidence from the text, one of them a direct quote, and explain that evidence in my commentary. So, just a quick review of things that you should know. A claim is what I'm trying to prove. It's my thesis statement. Evidence are pieces of proof directly from the book. They can be either paraphrased in your own words, but one of them should be a direct quote in quotation marks, right? We put the quotation marks around the direct words from the text. Finally, the commentary is your discussion or your explanation that helps the reader to understand how and why your evidence supports your claim. Okay? There it is again. You can stop it if you need to look more closely. All right. That's all I have for you. Do your best. Use my model and bring it with you. It's due on Thursday. I'll see you then. Have a good night. Bye.